English Shorthand Dictation 120 words per minute.
Start. The great majority of business companies today are companies limited by shares. The shares that may be issued vary according to the degree of financial risk that they carry. For whoever invests his money as a shareholder in somebody else's business is taking a calculated risk. He cannot be sure that the firm in which he is taking shares will make a regular annual profit or at any rate a profit large enough to ensure the payment of a reasonable dividend which is to all intents and purposes equal to a fair rate of interest on the money he has put into the company. Para. The most important difference between one type of share and another is that between preference and ordinary shares. Preference shareholders, as their name clearly shows, come before the ordinary shareholders when the company's profits are disturbed in the form of dividends. After a good year's trading, the profits will be sufficient enough to pay dividends on both preference and ordinary shares. After a bad year, the board of directors may decide to pass the ordinary dividend and make a distribution only to preference shareholders. When a substantial loss has been made, even the preference dividend may be passed. In such cases, however, there is sometimes class of preference share known as the cumulative preference share which gives the holder the right to receive when results improve the dividend or dividends he has missed in the previous years. Para. There are also sometimes two classes of preference shares, first preference and second preference, the former having priority in the allocation of profits to dividends. Para. Since ordinary shares obviously carry a greater degree of risk, they are made more attractive to the investor by having no fixed rate of dividend, which means that in a good year the ordinary shareholder may receive a higher percentage return on his investment. Preference shares, on the other hand, have a fixed dividend rate which usually varies between 4 and 6%. Because of this distinction, the price of ordinary shares on the stock exchange fluctuates considerably more than that of preference shares, and a good deal of money is made or lost in buying and selling them by people who, though shareholders in name and therefore partly owing the business, in fact are interested in the company merely as a source of temporary investment or even only as a speculation. Para. At the extremes of financial risk come two other types of investment, debentures and deferred shares. Debentures are the safest of all forms of investment, having priority even over preference shares in the payment of interest and the repayment of capital. They are, in fact, strictly speaking, not a type of share at all, but a fully insured loan. At the other end of the scale are deferred shares, which are below the ordinary shares in the distribution of dividends. Stop.